Now, marketing communication is achieved when a product, whether in physical form or an idea, is processed into such a way as to arrest the attention of the greatest number of persons or consumer of media content. It is a specialized industry with a peculiar ecosystem. In Nigeria, media communication has always been beset by familiar problems, mostly on issues of embracing global best practices and continuous need to train and retrain media communicators. Israel Obatunde is the founder and CEO of Ideas Origin Media and a visionary leader in Nigeria's creative industry. He joins us right now. I want to say thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, marketing communication. Let's lay the groundwork right now. Talk to us. How is marketing communication different from PR and several other communications that are actually out there?
Marketing communications is not so different because we work hand in hand with all these other sectors you've mentioned. But what makes it a lot critically a major factor in conversation is because it talks about how we can take information from a particular brand, a particular set of people, a particular set of government organization, from them to the person they need to talk to, which is their target audience. And this is very critical because if the person you are talking to does not understand what you are saying, then you can have misinformation, then you can have false news, then you can have misconception. And that is why brands especially don't joke with talking in the right way to the right people through the right means.
Indeed. So how is your industry affected by current economic decisions by the present administration?
I wouldn't say it's not been very challenging because the realities are obviously out there. And like we say, we all know entrepreneurship is a bedrock of a nation's development. Mm-hmm. But in a situation where you're having businesses closing down here and there, and it's becoming a competitive, highly competitive environment, and maybe call it a cutthroat, mm-hmm. then that means something has to be put in check. And these are happening to obvious situations. When you are running, you're in the marketing communication industry, there are key things you consider as a business owner. There are the internal factors and, of course, the external factors. The internal factors are the critical, most critical, because if you are not solid internally, you can't give your brands, your client, the best of work. So I think what majorly affected is we all know there is the Japa syndrome, okay. which is affecting the labor. Right, professionals want to have the best of life, even if it is not to continue what they are doing here in Nigeria, yeah. But they want security, they want more payment. So as a result of that, you have to juggle in between how to retain your staff, to give them the best of life, and at the same time, keep the clients, keep giving them the best of works. So if businesses are closing down, you know, you are not just closing one person's dream down, you are closing livelihood down, okay. You know, and it's getting to, you know, when you even want to engage foreigners, some of what you deal with people outside this country, the foreign exchange is practically not helping that. If you are having negotiations, of course, when you are giving your cost, there is room for unwarranted expenses. But in a situation whereby when you are having a discussion as a this night is 1 naira, and because of the foreign exchange, before you wake up, it's already 5 naira. Somebody has to pay for that, and it's not every business that is very strong to endure this kind of turbulent time. So it's been a bit challenging. I will be honest.
All right, let's talk about social media and how it has disrupted your particular industry, because sometimes, or rather, people have decided that seeing some of these influencers are easily accessible. They can actually bypass practitioners to go directly to the influencers to get them to do XYZ number of projects for them, and thereby limiting the briefs practitioners in your sector to get.
Yeah, I must give it to the influencers. I love what they are doing, especially the creative ones among them. But that is for you to be able to overcome this, that's where originality comes in. There is a reason why I was once an art director. There's a reason why I served under creative directors, became a creative director, became a strategist, understood the part of scripting, is because there is a thought-through process in everything we do in communication. Mm-hmm. Being an influencer is just one part of it. If there is no storytelling in what you are doing that is talking about what the client is trying to achieve in short-term and long-term goals, then you are just probably spending just for spending's sake. So where we come in as professionals is to create a guide for the brand, is to create a guide for the client. I will always work with influencers anytime, any day, and particularly I don't see them as a challenge to worry about, because in one way or the other, they are making our work easier. Yeah. And I must say, they also helped us to also be on our toes. So, but in terms of effective communication, you can't rely on just influencers. You can't rely on just what influencers will do. You need that person that will think through for you from ground zero to ground 100. And what are you doing in 1 year's time, in 2 years' time, in 3 years' time? There are a lot of brands that we work with that what we are doing now is just a phase in their journey. So if you just leverage on what influencers is doing, influencers cannot tell you what you should do in the next 2 to 3 years.
And of course, even influencers have their own shortcomings as well, of which the public is also looking at, not just what they post on social media as well, but their private lives as well. Now, one would have thought there should be a silver lining in all of these challenges currently, that, the process should give you a scenario whereby you can think outside of the box, encourage competitiveness, and of course innovation among your peers in the industry. So, what are you doing in exploring that avenue in terms of, okay, fine, there are challenges. You also mentioned the fact that, okay, this is not helping in terms of foreign exchange and elsewhere, but, one would have thought to keep ahead of the competition, you have to also think outside of the box, challenge yourself.
Yeah.
And so what are the prospects here?
So my philosophy personally is living like a dinosaur.
Literally.
Literally, a dinosaur over time has always been this kind of animal that learns to adapt and learns to flow with its environment, which brings in partnership. You see, if we can leverage on partnership in communication, there will always be a struggle. In one way or the other, there are people that have set the pace, especially in the global space. And that is why personally and as a business, we do a lot of partnership with companies outside this country in terms of training, in terms of engagement, in terms of use of tools. And that's where also technology comes in, right? Technology is one thing I think the government also really needs to open the channel more for us. Some of us have to spend a lot of money to bring in innovation in terms of technology to make business work. See, a thriving business today will tell you, somehow I don't think about government. I don't think about what government will do for me, right? Yeah. So partnership, leveraging on technology, not in terms of use of applications. I'm talking about what is trending, what is eventual, what is giving. Gone are the days where as a brand you have to, as an agency, you have to sit down in your office and you are tick-tacking on the best ideas to work. You've got to liaise, go into the market, do tests, do a lot of things that are basically channeled through technology. And I think if we can all be open-minded to also work, competition is good. Competition is good. Competition is a good way to check ourselves. However, there should be healthy competition because I'm on a business with you. We are on it together does not mean we can't still collaborate on different things because that's how we can actually make sure the industry is big and better in the long run.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about regulations and legislations. As it stands right now, what do you think which policies do you think the government should institute to ensure that your industry actually thrives and probably remove the barriers that are stumbling blocks as it is right now?
I think I would jokingly say that let the hope first be truly renewed.
Okay.
Yeah, because when there is no hope, no matter what you try to do, it might not fall, it might not help. But aside from that, I think the first thing for me is good working environment, policies that heads good working environment. I mean, there are teams, that has already been established by the government, the administration, look at the tax reform things and the likes that is ongoing. I think critical places they need to look at is how do we create a healthy, good, comfortable business working environment for businesses, for entrepreneurs, for small-scale businesses. And it also extends to the big guys, because the big guys are working out of us, and they are not working to the global space, they are working to another country, African country. That's not so encouraging. So if we can leverage on creating the good business working environment with policies that support that, and putting the right people to implement the policies, because we can have policies and in this place of implementation, we totally miss it with the wrong people doing the right job, right? I think that will help. Then if we can also leverage, like I mentioned, technology, we need to open more space for tech to come in, not to essentially open ourselves to be exploited as a country, but to be as a partner, not like a boss to a slave kind of relationship with the foreign world, but as a partner in understanding how things are working. There are Nigerians that are doing fantastically well out there in some of the conglomerates, big companies. We can bring them in to bring an initiative to be the ones guiding our policies. And if we can get it right on that, I think we will be on the right track.
Indeed, you just answered the question I was going to ask you regarding how they perceive us regarding your industry. Israel Oluyemi Obatunde, founder, CEO, Ideas Origin Media, would like to thank you for being a part of the show. It's good to have you.
Thank you very much.